Welcome to Hidden Histories. I'm Esme Rankin, and this week I'll be exploring the story of the Stirling Wolf. While national icons like William Wallace and Robert the Bruce are internationally known, local legends such as the wolf are often forgotten. I'll be finding out if the story has been lost and asking about the history behind the wolf. So, what is the story?
It was the 9th century, and a still winter's night in Stirling. The eyes of a lone sentry slowly grew heavy under the glistening light of the moon. He fell into a deep sleep, unaware of the impending attack. The thumping footsteps of the invaders stirred a sleeping wolf. Startled, the wolf sought safety within a nearby crag. Head raised to the moon, the wolf let out a mighty howl, awakening the close-by sentry. Now alert, he rallied the townfolk, who valiantly defended the town of Stirling, and thus the legend of the Stirling Wolf was born.
After hearing the story of the wolf, I wanted to find out how much the locals knew about the legend, if they'd even heard of it at all. So I took it to the streets of Stirling.
Have I ever heard of the Stirling Wolf? No.
I don't know a lot about it, but I know there was some kind of myths.
Like an icon of Stirling.
The Stirling Wolf? I haven't, no. I've not heard. Oh, yes, actually. Is this the wolf on the McRobert sign?
Nope, I've never heard of it.
I think that there's a place up there called Wolf Street, Wolf Craigs or something like that, but I've never heard of it.
If the locals of Stirling are unaware of the story, is it more popular with tourists who are interested in the city's history? I asked Graham Hamilton, a customer advisor at Stirling's Visit Scotland Information Centre.
No, it's not well known. We get asked very few questions about it. You know, most of the times it's mentioned is because we've mentioned it. Because of the results of Wallace and Bruce, it was a national thing. It was fighting for independence. Things like this are just little local stories. And I would probably say a lot of people in Stirling don't know the local story of it.
So, if the tourist centre isn't promoting the story, who will? I approached John Harrison, the chairman of Stirling's History Society, who believes that tourists come to Stirling primarily to see the big tourist attractions like the castle, the Wallace Monument and the Bannockburn Centre. I asked if the wolf should have a place in Stirling's celebrated history.
Tourist boards, whatever, are always going to go for the big stories anyway. I mean, that's just the way the world is, and you can use that as marketing. This sort of story for tourism is always going to be an add-on.
So far, it seems that not only is the Stirling Wolf not well known, but it isn't being promoted either. Graham and John seem to think that the legend of the wolf is not as important as other more prominent stories. I went to speak to Dr. Elspeth King from the Smith Art Gallery and Museum in Stirling. I wanted to know if she had any different thoughts on the wolf's importance.
It's just a shame that civic history isn't as well taught as it used to be, and really every child in Stirling should be possessed of that knowledge when they're in the primary school. For example, in Glasgow, the story of the coat of arms there's a nursery rhyme for that, and it's taught in the schools, and we don't do the same here. We should.
Maybe the key to keeping the legend alive is less about tourism and more about encouraging children to show an interest in local history.
So you could, if you wanted to organise a day out for children in Stirling, that you would have a Find the Wolf trail. If you go around Stirling today, looking at the buildings, you'll find a great many wolves.
Along Dumbarton Street, you might have noticed the old wall. But did you see the engraved stone wolf, Couchon, on the top of the filling station? What about the mosaic in King's Park, the weather vane on Barton Street, or the Wolf's Cottage on Lower Bridge Street? These are just some of the countless references to the wolf around Stirling. It seems that while locals are unaware of the legend, clues within the architecture have been in front of them the whole time. Dr. King was able to show me more references to the wolf both in and around the gallery.
Here he is, painted for the Tolbooth in Stirling. So when the Tolbooth was being refurbished, all these things came to the museum. Come and see the wolf on the Stirling jug. It's the funniest thing you ever saw. That's supposed to be him there. But as I say, it's sometimes taken as the baby Christ and or the wolf. Hard to tell the difference.
It seems that the wolf has been revived in recent events too. At the time of the millennium, it was proposed that an effigy of Robert the Bruce should be made and burned to celebrate what this hero has done for Stirling and Scotland as a whole. Confused, the people protested against the idea, and the wolf took its place. Even this stirred complaints.
I remember one woman saying to me, "Oh, the wolf brought luck to Stirling, you shouldn't be burning it." It is interesting that somebody in this day and age can still regard the wolf as bringing luck to Stirling.
I found Forth Valley College have begun using the wolf as a symbol on their student cards in the form of the wolf pass. Will these recent appearances create more interest in the wolf's legend, or will it remain a hidden history? Next week, join me as I travel to Cardross to uncover the mystery behind the Maiden of the Bridge. That's Friday at 9 o'clock on BBC Radio Scotland.